Shadows lengthened and the night deepened. Alara could not shake the feeling that the hardest moments were still to come, and that the true test of their love was only beginning. The chamber held its secrets close, and the clockmaker's legacy awaited its final reckoning. The apothecary was a sanctuary bathed in the soft glow of fading afternoon light, where the scent of dried herbs and earthy roots wove a comforting tapestry around Alara's restless thoughts. She sat quietly on a worn wooden stool, her hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea that Mara had brewed with meticulous care. Across from her, Mara's silver hair caught glimmers of gold from the setting sun filtering through stained glass, her eyes steady and wise. "The heart is a delicate clock," Mara began, her voice low but steady, easily thrown off by the weight of fear and doubt. "But it can be mended if one knows how to trust the hands that guide it." Alara nodded, swallowing hard as she felt the words settle deep within her. The curse that bound Lucian was not just an external force, it was a labyrinth of emotions, a maze of trust and sacrifice she had yet to fully navigate. "I want to believe," she whispered, "but what if I'm not strong enough? What if I leave and lose him forever?" Mara's gaze softened. "Strength is not the absence of fear, Alara, but the courage to face it. And sometimes the bravest act is to open your heart despite the risk." The words lingered as Alara's mind drifted back to the town square where Henrik awaited her earlier that day. The meeting had been less comforting. "You are treading dangerous ground," Henrik had said, his brow furrowed beneath the weight of responsibility. "This town's secrets are not meant for outsiders, and Lucian, his fate is tied to forces beyond your understanding." His voice was stern, but there was an edge of something else, concern, perhaps, or a reluctant respect. "I'm not an outsider anymore," Alara had replied, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "I'm part of this now, and I'll face whatever comes because I love him." Henrik had studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly, the hard lines around his eyes softening just a fraction. "Then you will need allies, and you have mine, for now. But be careful, trust is a fragile thing in this town, and not everyone wishes you well." Returning to Mara's apothecary, Alara felt a fragile thread of hope weave through her doubts. Trust was a risk, but it was the only path forward. Later, as dusk deepened into twilight, Alara wandered the narrow cobblestone streets lined with ancient stone buildings, their shadows stretching long beneath the endless canopy of amber leaves. The ticking of countless clocks echoed faintly through the crisp air, a haunting reminder of the curse's omnipresence. Her footsteps slowed near the towering clock at the heart of the town. The great mechanism's hands remained frozen in time, a silent sentinel over the eternal autumn. It was here that Lucian found her, stepping from the shadows with a quiet grace that belied the turmoil within. His eyes, as timeless and clear as the sky above, searched hers with a tenderness that made her breath catch. No words were needed. The unspoken promise in that gaze was stronger than any vow. "I'm here," he said softly. "Whatever comes, you are not alone." Alara reached out, her fingers brushing against the cool silver of his ever-ticking pocket watch. The steady pulse of its rhythm seemed to sync with her own heart, steadying the tempest of fears and hopes inside her. In that moment, beneath the watchful face of the clock tower and the swirling amber leaves, Alara felt the first true stirrings of trust take root, a fragile, luminous spark in the endless twilight of their shared fate. But even as the night deepened, the shadow of the curse loomed close, whispering of the sacrifices yet to come. And Alara knew that the path ahead would test every ounce of her courage and love. With a final glance toward the silent clocks, she stepped forward, ready to face the turmoil and trust in the fragile promise of tomorrow. On Alara standing resolute, her hand in Lucian's, the ticking of the cursed timepieces a haunting yet hopeful soundtrack to their entwined destinies. The question remains, will trust be enough to overcome the shadows of the past and the curse's relentless grip? The fading amber light filtered softly through the stained glass windows of Mara's apothecary, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the worn wooden floor. The scent of dried herbs mingled with the musk of ancient parchment stacked high on every available surface. Alara sat beside Lucian, the flicker of a single candle dancing between them, as Mara's voice wove a tapestry of history that felt both distant and achingly close. The Clockmaker family, once the town's pride, became its silent prisoners. Mara began, her silver hair catching the candlelight like threads of moonlight. Long ago, when the desire to master time itself gripped Lucian's father, he delved into forbidden experiments that twisted the natural order. The result was a curse, one that froze our town in eternal autumn, and trapped his bloodline in a cycle of endless days. Alara listened, heart tightening with each word. The golden leaves that perpetually drifted outside seemed to echo Mara's lament, suspended in a slow, unending waltz. Lucian's youthful face remained serene, but shadowed by the weight of heritage and pain. Later that afternoon, Alara found herself in the town's modest library, the air thick with the scent of aging paper and dust. The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the stained glass, dappling the wooden tables where she spread out brittle journals and faded letters penned by generations long past. Her fingers traced the delicate script, piecing together a mosaic of hopes, regrets, and warnings left by those who had lived under the curse's shadow. One letter, written by Lucian's great-grandmother, spoke of a time when the town first realized the autumn would never end. She wrote of golden days that refused to fade, leaves that danced endlessly without withering, and the bittersweet beauty of a season caught between life and decay. The curse had become both a blessing and a prison, preserving the town in a melancholic limbo, where time's passage was both halted and mourned. In the quiet that followed, Lucian took Alara by the hand and led her through narrow cobblestone streets to a hidden garden nestled behind the clockmaker's workshop. The garden was a sanctuary of swirling leaves, caught in gentle eddies of wind that seemed to defy natural rhythm. Golden foliage circled endlessly around ancient trees, their branches heavy with the weight of unchanging seasons. Here, beneath the dappled light, the two shared a fragile moment of intimacy. Lucian's blue eyes, timeless and deep, met Alara's gaze as they spoke in hushed tones about their intertwined fates. The garden was a living symbol of their love, beautiful, suspended in time, yet tinged with the sorrow of what might never be. As dusk fell, Alara's resolve was tested once more. Henrik found her in the town square, his broad frame silhouetted against the darkening sky. His face was worn with the burden of duty and fear. "You delve too deep," he warned, voice low but urgent. "Some truths are meant to remain buried, for the sake of the town's fragile peace." Alara met his gaze steadily. "I need to know," she said softly. "If there's any hope to break this curse, to change what has been, I must understand it fully." Henrik's eyes flickered with conflicted loyalty. After a tense pause, he nodded slowly, "Very well. But be warned, the past is not always kind, and the future uncertain." Night settled over the town like a velvet cloak, the eternal autumn leaves whispering secrets in the cool breeze. Alara felt the weight of generations resting on her shoulders, but also an emboldening clarity. The path ahead was fraught with peril, but in understanding the past, she and Lucian might yet find a way to reclaim time itself, or at least their place within it. The day began like any other in the town, cloaked in eternal autumn. Yet there was an unfamiliar heaviness in the air, as if the very atmosphere held its breath. Alara had barely stepped into the clockmaker's workshop when a harsh, grinding noise pierced the usual steady rhythm of ticking clocks. Gears that once moved with the precision of a heartbeat now screeched and faltered, struggling against unseen forces. Lucian stood by the workbench, his striking blue eyes shadowed with concern as he tried to steady a delicate mechanism that refused to obey. "It's as if the timepieces themselves are rebelling," Lucian murmured, his fingers trembling slightly as he adjusted a tiny cog. The silver pocket watch he always wore emitted a relentless ticking that seemed louder, almost frantic. Alara's heart tightened as she watched the subtle signs of the curse's growing strength. Outside, the golden leaves rustled in an unnatural wind that swept through the cobblestone streets, carrying with it a chill that gnawed at the edges of warmth. Shadows stretched unnaturally long beneath the fading light of the eternal autumn twilight, wrapping the town in a shroud of foreboding. Alara and Lucian stepped into the dusky air, their breaths visible in the sudden cold. The silence between them was heavy, burdened with unspoken fears. "Something is coming," Alara whispered, her voice barely audible over the whispering wind. She reached out, her fingers brushing against Lucian's hand, seeking solace in the connection they shared. But the moment was fragile, as if the very fabric of their bond was strained by the looming threat. That evening, the comforting scent of herbs and aged wood filled Mara's apothecary, yet the warmth was tinged with sorrow. Mara, her silver hair pulled back tightly, looked at Alara with eyes that held the weight of countless secrets. "The curse is stirring," she said quietly. "It has always been a part of this town, but now it grows restless and dangerous." Alara listened, the revelations pressing down on her like the weight of 1,000 falling leaves. Mara spoke of ancient bindings and sacrifices, of a delicate balance that had been maintained for generations, but was now unraveling. Her voice trembled as she confessed her own connection to the curse, a guardian bound by duty and love. "You must be careful," Mara warned, "for the curse does not only trap time, it traps hearts and souls, twisting them in ways we cannot always see." The following day, Henrik sought Alara out in the town square. His usually stern face was etched with a rare vulnerability. "You don't understand what you're risking," he said firmly, though his voice carried an undercurrent of sympathy. "This town's peace depends on keeping the past buried. The curse is not something to be trifled with." Alara met his gaze, her green eyes steady and resolute. "I cannot turn away from this, not when Lucian's life, and all that I've come to love here, is at stake." Tension crackled between them, witnessed by the watchful eyes of townsfolk who gathered quietly nearby, their faces shadowed with fear and hope intertwined. The relentless ticking of clocks echoed through the streets, a reminder of the fragile thread upon which their lives now hung. As night fell, Alara sat by the window of the workshop, listening to the dissonant ticking that filled the room. Her thoughts raced memories of past betrayals, the fragile hope she had found with Lucian, and the dark shadow of the curse that threatened to shatter it all. The eternal autumn outside seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would come next. In that moment of silence, broken only by the ticking clocks and the rustling leaves, Alara understood the depth of the sacrifice required. Love, she realized, was not merely a refuge but a battleground. And as the threat grew nearer, she steeled herself to face whatever darkness awaited, determined to protect the fragile balance of the town and the timeless love she had come to cherish. But the question lingered in the chill night air: could love truly conquer the curse, or would time, in all its cruel inevitability, claim them both? The wind whispered through the skeletal branches of the ancient trees lining the narrow streets of the town, their leaves a cascade of amber and gold that swirled endlessly in the chill autumn air. Alara stood silently on the balcony of the clock tower, the world below bathed in the fading glow of a sun that seemed reluctant to set. The town, forever caught in the embrace of eternal autumn, felt both haunting and alive, a reflection of the turmoil that roiled within her heart. Before her, the horizon stretched wide, a tapestry of rustling leaves and murmuring shadows. The air carried the scent of damp earth and wood smoke, a reminder of the lives intertwined with the legacy of the Clockmaker's family. But tonight, the gentle serenity was pierced by the irregular ticking of the cursed clocks, a sound that had become the soundtrack of her days and nights. Each tick was a heartbeat, a countdown, a reminder that time was both their enemy and their only companion. Her fingers clenched the worn fabric of her shawl as she struggled to steady her breath. The choice laid before her was as impossible as it was inevitable: to stay, tethered to Lucian and the curse that bound him to unchanging youth, or to leave and shatter the spell, freeing him but condemning herself to a life without the man she had come to love beyond reason. Behind her, the heavy wooden door creaked open. Mara stepped softly onto the balcony, her silver hair catching the last rays of light. "The town is waiting for your decision," she said softly, her voice a balm amid the storm. "But remember, Elara, not all choices are about what we lose. Sometimes they are about what we gain." Elara nodded, though the weight in her chest refused to lighten. "I never imagined love could be so complicated," she whispered. "So full of sacrifice." "Love has always been the clock that keeps the world turning," Mara replied, her eyes reflecting the wisdom of countless seasons. "And sometimes it demands the greatest courage." As Mara's footsteps faded, Elara turned toward the workshop where Lucian awaited. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of oil and aged wood. Lucian sat at the workbench, his youthful face pale under the flickering candlelight, a silver pocket watch cradled in his hands. His striking blue eyes lifted to meet hers, a tempest of hope and fear swirling within. "Elara," he breathed, voice trembling, "if you choose to leave, the curse will break. I will age, live as any man should. But we will be strangers." She stepped closer, the distance between them shrinking, but the chasm of their fate widening. "And if I stay, then you bind me here, frozen," he said, "but together, for all time." The truth settled between them, thick and unyielding. Enric appeared silently in the doorway, his stern visage softened by the burden of understanding. "The town's fate is intertwined with yours," he said gravely. "Whatever you decide will ripple through the lives of all who dwell here." Elara's gaze drifted to the clocks lining the walls, their hands spinning endlessly, caught in an unbroken loop. The ticking grew louder, a cacophony that filled the room with urgency. Her heart pounded in time, torn between love and loss, freedom and fate. "I don't want to lose you," she confessed, voice breaking. "But I fear destroying what we have." Lucian reached out, his hand warm against hers. "Love is not destruction, Elara. It is the very thing that can set us free." Outside, the first chill of evening crept into the air, and the town's eternal autumn began to shift imperceptibly. Leaves danced in a sudden breeze, their colors deepening as shadows stretched long and thin. The golden light dimmed, replaced by a twilight tinged with both melancholy and promise. Elara took a deep breath and stepped back toward the clock tower's balcony. The decision was hers alone to make. As the ticking clocks echoed the fragile beat of her heart, she understood that this crossroads was more than a choice between love and freedom. It was a moment where time itself held its breath, waiting for her to decide the fate of two souls entwined beyond mortal bounds. Her footsteps carried her away from the workshop and into the embrace of the shifting autumn night. The wind carried the sound of ticking clocks, fading into a new rhythm, uncertain yet filled with the possibility of change. The path ahead was unknown, but Elara's resolve burned bright, a flame that promised hope amid the shadows of sacrifice. Her story, their story, was only just beginning. The apothecary was warm and inviting, a sanctuary against the chill that seeped into the town's eternal autumn. Golden rays filtered through stained glass, casting kaleidoscopes of color onto the wooden floorboards and the myriad jars lining the shelves. Amid the gentle ticking of countless clocks, Elara and Lucian sat close together on a worn leather settee, their hands intertwined, drawing strength from each other's presence. Lucian's voice was low, almost hesitant, as he spoke of the fears that had long haunted him. "Elara," he began, his striking blue eyes searching hers, "the curse is not just that I cannot age, but the loneliness it brings. To watch the world move on, while I remain frozen in time, is a burden heavier than any clock's weight." Elara's heart clenched. She had sensed the depth of his pain, but hearing it spoken aloud made it unbearably real. "I never imagined," she whispered, "what it truly means to be trapped by time." He nodded, a wistful smile touching his lips. But your presence, it gives me hope. Not just to endure, but to believe that love can be timeless, even in the face of sacrifice. The room seemed to shrink around them, the ticking clocks growing louder, each tick echoing the fragile beat of their hearts entwined in a silent promise. Alara squeezed his hand, steeling herself for the trials ahead. Later, beneath the ancient oak tree in the town square, the cold autumn air wrapped around them. Leaves swirled in lazy spirals, their russet and gold hues a stark contrast to the darkening sky. The world felt suspended, as if holding its breath for the choice that loomed before them. "Do you regret staying?" Alara asked softly, her voice barely above the whispering wind. Lucian's gaze drifted upward, tracing the branches etched against the sky. "Regret? No. Fear, always. Fear of what the endless years might steal from us, moments, memories, the simplicity of growing old together." Alara leaned her head against his shoulder, drawing comfort despite the melancholy that settled over them. "Then we face it together," she vowed. "Whatever comes, we will not let the curse break us." Their resolve was tested soon after in Henrik's study. The magistrate's room was dimly lit, lined with heavy books and papers, a testament to his duty and the weight he bore. Henrik regarded Alara with a mixture of skepticism and growing sympathy. "You walk a dangerous path, miss," he said gravely, "but I see in you a determination that cannot be easily dismissed. The town's secrets are not easily unraveled, and the curse is no mere superstition. Yet, perhaps love is the key to unlocking what has long been imprisoned." Alara met his gaze steadily. "I will do whatever it takes to protect Lucian and this town, even if it means sacrifice." Henrik's expression softened, the lines of his face betraying a wariness that matched her own. "Then you have my support, for all its limits." The final scene unfolded in the Clockmaker's workshop at twilight. Shadows danced across walls adorned with intricate timepieces, their faces catching the fading light. Alara and Lucian stood hand in hand amidst the ticking symphony, the curse's presence more palpable than ever. "The time has come," Lucian said quietly, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "Whatever happens, know that my love for you transcends every second we are given." Alara nodded, her eyes shining with tears and determination. "Together we will face the echoes of sacrifice and find a new rhythm beyond the curse." As the clocks ticked louder, their hearts beat in unison, a timeless cadence that would carry them forward into the unknown. The stakes had never been higher, but in that moment, love was their fiercest defiance. The chapter closed on the soft chime of a distant clock, a haunting melody that lingered in the air, promising that the next steps in their journey would test every fiber of their being. Yet beneath the weight of sacrifice, a fragile hope blossomed that love, in its purest form, could rewrite the very fabric of time itself. The night had fallen deep and heavy over the town, its eternal autumn cloaking every street and shadow in a muted gold that seemed almost surreal beneath the silver glare of the moon. In the heart of the town, the Clockmaker's workshop was a sanctuary of ticking and whirring, yet tonight it felt like a battleground. Alara stood beside Lucian, their hands brushing briefly as they studied the towering grandfather clock that dominated the room. Its pendulum swung with a wild, uneven rhythm, the ticking growing louder by the second, a frantic heartbeat echoing the turmoil that churned inside them. Alara's breath hitched. "Lucian, do you feel it? The curse, it's stronger tonight." He nodded, his striking blue eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight. "It senses the threat, it fights to keep its hold." The shadows in the room seemed to stretch and twitch, as if alive, whispering secrets only the cursed timepieces could understand. Alara's fingers tightened around the silver pocket watch Lucian had shown her weeks before, the one that never stopped ticking. It was both a chain and a key, a symbol of their entangled fates. "We can't let it win," Alara whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and resolve. "Not after everything." Outside, the town lay in eerie stillness, the cold wind weaving through the cobbled streets and stirring the amber leaves in restless spirals. The moonlight cast long, shifting shadows that bent unnaturally, as if the very essence of time was warping under the curse's influence. Alara wrapped her shawl tighter around her, the chill biting into her skin, but inside, her heart blazed with a fierce determination. At Mara's apothecary, the elderly woman sat surrounded by ancient manuscripts and dusty tomes, their pages yellowed and fragile. The flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows on her lined face as she guided Alara's gaze to the faded inked words describing the forbidden experiments of Lucian's father. "This is where it began," Mara said softly. "A desperate man who sought to conquer time itself, blind to the cost." Alara traced the delicate script with trembling fingers. "And the curse, it's rooted in his ambition." Mara nodded. "Yes, but it is also bound to love the one force that can break the cycle, if only the heart is brave enough." The weight of that truth settled heavily on Alara's shoulders. She glanced out the window toward the looming workshop, where Lucian awaited, fighting his own battle against the invisible enemy. Meanwhile, Henrik stood alone in the town square, his stout frame rigid as the air around him crackled with tension. The clocks embedded in the walls began to malfunction, their hands spinning wildly before shattering into shards that glittered like fallen stars on the cobblestones. Henrik's eyes narrowed, his gaze fierce as he faced the unseen force threatening his home. "This ends tonight," he muttered, his voice steady despite the chaos. "No curse will break our town." Back inside the workshop, Alara stepped forward, her voice steady as she addressed the shadows that seemed to press inward. "I am not afraid. I will fight for Lucian, for us, and for this town." Lucian reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining. "Your love is the only light in this darkness. Together, we might just hold back the night." The clock's ticking rose to a deafening crescendo, surrounding them like a tempest of sound. Alara closed her eyes, focusing on the steady beat of her heart, the warmth of Lucian's hand, and the hope that had carried her this far. As the first rays of dawn threatened the horizon, the curse recoiled, its hold loosening but not yet broken. The town quivered on the edge of change, and Alara knew the hardest choices were yet to come. With the weight of the curse pressing down upon them, Alara's courage ignited a spark of resistance, of fragile hope that love might yet triumph over the relentless ticking of time. But as the echoes of the night's battle faded, a question lingered in the cool morning air. Could love truly defy a curse born of impossible ambition without demanding the ultimate sacrifice? The answer awaited them in the fragile moments to come, where time itself held its breath. And so, with the ticking of countless clocks resonating like a heartbeat in the stillness, Alara and Lucian stood at the breaking point, poised between despair and hope, bound by love and the inexorable march of time. The waning light of the eternal autumn cast a golden haze over the town as Alara stood silently beneath the ancient oak that towered over the cobblestone square. The soft rustling of leaves whispered secrets carried on the crisp breeze, mingling with the distant, steady ticking of countless clocks that filled every corner of the town. Somewhere, faint and persistent, the silver pocket watch ticked on Lucian's person, a heartbeat that had never faltered. Alara's heart ached with the weight of the choice before her. To leave would mean freedom from the curse's curse, and a chance to reclaim the normal, transient life she had always yearned for. But it would also mean the end of what had become the most profound love she had ever known. To stay was to embrace the unknown, to tether herself to a timeless existence bound by sacrifice and uncertainty. The memory of Lucian's pale, youthful face came to her, his striking blue eyes reflecting the depths of his soul's longing and loneliness. She recalled the countless moments they had shared, quiet afternoons in the clockmaker's workshop, their fingers brushing as they worked side by side repairing the intricate timepieces. Evenings spent walking beneath the canopy of amber leaves, the world around them suspended in a delicate balance between decay and beauty. A soft voice stirred her from her reverie. "Alara," Mara's gentle tone carried across the square as the apothecary woman approached, her shawl wrapped tightly around her silver hair. Behind her, Henrik followed, his usually stern visage softened by the gravity of the moment. "You carry the weight of many lives," Mara said, her eyes kind but resolute. "But remember, love itself is a force that can bend even the cruelest of fates."